Comic Book Firsts by Rashmika Vituri. Comic book. Noun, a publication that consists of comic art in the form of sequential juxtaposed panels that represent individual scenes. While more commonly, a comic book is essentially a story told in parts portrayed in a comic strip. These comic strips we've always seen them growing up, and they're often feature the exciting lives of superheroes and supervillains. The first comic, The Phantom. This comic is the first American publishing of The Phantom. Most of today's people don't know much about him, but he was very popular. The Phantom was first published on February 17th, 1936, and he was the first hero with a costume. He was created by Lee Falk, who is still today working on his stories. The Phantom was the kind of hero that was a regular human, but he fought crime with bravery and death-defying stunts. Many future heroes would follow his lead. Next, we'll talk about the first superhero. The first superhero was, as you can see, Superman. In June 1938, Action Comics #1 came out, featuring an incredibly strong man lifting a car over his head. This was Superman, the very first comic character to have powers far beyond a normal human being. Although the Phantom, as we previously discussed, was a superhuman, he was still human. This Superman came from a different planet, and he was completely different from like a normal human. He could lift car over his head and throw it at someone. He could also run faster than a train or leap over tall buildings in a single bound. In the summer of 1939, Superman continued to show his success, and he was the very first superhero to ever get a comic book fully devoted to telling his adventures only. Previously and up until this point, all comic books had like a variety of characters and different stories in them. The first sidekick. The first sidekick was Robin, and he was the sidekick of the esteemed superhero Batman. The first sidekick came out in April of 1940. His name was Robin the Boy Wonder. He first appeared in Detective Comics #38. Batman and Robin would be the best-known dynamic duo in comic books, and obviously, everyone first fell in love with Batman, but when Robin was introduced, he was seen as a threat to Batman, but soon he had fans as well. Robin was younger than Batman, but he was still extremely important to the success of the duo as a whole. Robin was important strategically in comic books as well, because he was a hero that the younger readers and younger audiences could relate to, and once everyone related to them, it made the entire series more universal. Because of the popularity of Robin, other superheroes got their own sidekicks. Before, it was a little apprehensive, but after the success, many other comic book writers took inspiration. Finally, moving on to the very first heroine, Wonder Woman. In 1941, Wonder Woman first appeared in the All-Star Comics #8. She started out as a Justice League Society secretary, but she didn't stay here. Rather, she later became the first big-name superheroine whose fame matched that of Superman and Batman. And in the year of 1941, women were already starting to fight for equality, not just in person, but in comic books as well. She was important because she defied gender roles and gave someone women could look up to, even though she was fictional. Wonder Woman comics, like Superman comics, are still popular and relevant today. So we can see that in 1941, women still lived in their traditional gender roles, but through this fantasy, women were able to experience the adventures of Wonder Woman herself, and this really helped the female movement as a whole. And that is the end. Thank you. I hope you enjoyed this presentation.